Aloha everyone, welcome back to these tutorials. So in this tutorial, I'll be showing you more about GoDaddy and cPanel. So basically, log into your cPanel, and what we're going to do in this video, we are going to figure out how to connect our database. Because in this hosting plan that we purchased, if we scroll down, we get a database. Yay! So you can see some familiar things, PhpMyAdmin and MySQL, right? MySQL is using PhpMyAdmin is using MySQL. So let's go ahead and first let's jump right ahead and let's click on PhpMyAdmin. Let's see what it looks like. It should look very similar to the one that we are using in the exam, basically. So now how does it look on an actual server that's on the internet? And this is what it looks like. There's a little bit differences, but it's mostly the same. If you look on the left hand side right here, there's no databases yet. This information schema thing, that's for the PhpMyAdmin, so you don't want to mess around with that. Here is the name of the database server and some more information. Now notice, if you go into database, there's no area for you that says you can create a database. So we do things a little bit differently here in PhpMyAdmin. So if we go back here and to create a database through this, really simple is using MySQL Database Wizard. So if we go ahead and click on MySQL Database Wizard, it's gonna walk us through a nice little wizard that'll allow us to create our first database here. So step 1, create a database. What database name should we do? So if you follow along, we're gonna just do a simple database and I'll show you how to connect it and everything. So this database, I'm gonna call it friends list. And good. With the check mark here, that means that it's not taken. Now, if you do like a common name called contacts, it might not go through. I don't know why it's saying it's okay, but so another key thing to remember that we're actually sharing this server, and within the server, there's like multiple usernames and like plans, right? So you cannot name a database that someone already else named. Now when we were in PhpMyAdmin, we didn't see any databases on our end for that user for our account, right? But then let's say there's a database already called contacts that some user is already using, and if that happens, then that basically means that you can't create a database called contacts. So in good practice, when we buy this kind of plan, we want to like put a little ID at the front of our database name just to be 100% sure that no one else is using the same name as us. I mean, some common names you might be able to get it because you might be the first one depending on the availability, but for good practice, let's go ahead and put some ID inside of our database name. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put my name, and I'm gonna call it friends list. I'm gonna hit next. So my name on my database is called PreciousBenos _ friends list, and a username friend. That might be taken, so I'm gonna say PreciousBenos. Max count, so I'll just say, oh, another good name would be your domain name. Password. And we're gonna create this user. So it's a good name. It's a good thing to name your domain name too, because you might have multiple databases. And the kind of privileges, I am going to give it all privileges so it can create things, delete, and yada yada yada. We're gonna hit next, and it says good. The user Let's Code today was added to the database PreciousBenos _ friend list. Great. Now let's return to home, cPanel home, and let's go check out our database. So let's scroll down here and let's go to PhpMyAdmin. Usually this does take long to load because it's going through different loops. Alright, so another thing to mention, automatically we are logged in to PhpMyAdmin with this CPAS something at localhost. So that's probably why it's better to create it using the cPanel than to creating here, because this user probably doesn't have rights to create databases. Anyways, there is our database, and there's no tables in our database. So let's go ahead and just do a simple table. So let's call this list, and number of columns, let's just do 1. And it'll be a name, and we'll do a text, and we'll hit save. So great, we just have a table in here, and it's called list. There's no data in it. So let's go ahead and insert things. Who's my friend? Bob. Bob's my friend. Bob is inserted inside my list. And another one is Bill. So great, let's go check out the data. And I got 2 friends. Yay! Alright, so another thing that we want to do is connect it to our Netbeans. So if we go into our Netbeans, and let's go ahead and create a new project from our remote server, yes. And let's save it in our desktop. And we'll call this friend list. Make sure you have a folder if you're saving it to another place. And project URL, it's letscodetoday.com. And remote connection, let's give it the editor, not the admin. And then upload directory, we're not saving it into any folder yet, so we're just gonna go and hit next. And it's downloading things again. So I'm creating a new project. I could have just used my old project right here, but walking through the steps again. And here, I'm not going to touch around with index. I'm going to create a new file called friends. Then I'm going to hit finish. And now we have PHP page right here, empty PHP page. Now, remember in the other videos, I have this template, database template. So I'm going to the database template. It's going to be at the bottom of this video as well. And I am going to just copy and paste this template. I'm going to go back to my code. And right in the middle of my PHP delimiters, I am going to paste it. See, it's saving, uploading to the server. Now I'm going to do a source format so things look a little bit nicer. And I'm going to close this output window. It's fine if you do. Okay, great. We have our database template and the server name. The server name, it is not your domain name. It's not your website address. It's going to be localhost because PHP who's running it is actually on the server itself. So it's talking to itself, basically. So that's why it's okay that we use localhost. Now, if we were communicating from a different server, then we'd have to put the server name. But since it's running on our server, on our website, on our hosting plan, it's using localhost. So the username that we just did was, darn, I forgot. So if you forget, you can go back into this little guy, MySQL databases, and let's find out what our username is. It's also going to allow you to look at all the different databases that you created, and if you want to like modify them. So I got that database. And oh yeah, that's right. Privileged users, let's go today. And the users. Okay. So my username is the username that you entered. And my password, surprisingly, it's password. And the DB name is, I forgot what the DB name was. DB name is that. Copy it. And there you go. So I'm almost done with my template. Another thing that I'm gonna change, I don't need to change this because that's taking the info there, this line of code, it's getting all of the information there. This I don't want to change, but definitely what you'll be editing and changing a lot through in this template is the prepare SQL query statement. And here it's doing an insert into list, first name. So this is a template of another database. So now I need to make sure that I get the right column names and table names. If we go back to PhpMyAdmin, the column name or the table name is called list. And if we look inside structure, the column name inside list is just name. So the database table is called list. So it's saying insert into list. So this one has an S. The other one is just one. Insert into list first name. Is my column name first name? No, it's not. My column name inside the structure, it's just called name. Values first name. No, it's not first name. I'm going to change it just to name. Then here, we're binding the values we want into the query. Notice this one was first name. That was first name before, but I got to match what basically I had inside my query statement. So that's good. And this, instead of doing a post, what I'm going to do is just do a little variable right here. Call it data. And data equals me. So my name is me. And it's going to send that data in there into the name. The name goes into here and it's going to insert. So I've got my localhost, my username, my password, and the DB name. Great. Then it's going to bind it, it's going to execute it, and if it's successful, it's going to say success. If there's an error, if it catches any kinds of error, it's going to print out here. So let's go ahead and run the code and see what happens. Successful execution, yay! So let's go back to PhpMyAdmin and let's go to browse and let's see if me was inserted. Yay, me! Friendless me. So there you go, and that's how you use PhpMyAdmin and MySQL with our hosting plan.